Welcome to Inspiring Possible. I'm Christy Pennison, former stuck person turned therapist and dream consultant. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, uncertain, or just need a little inspiration? Then I want to help you gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to create possibilities and live a life you love. Because folks, life's too short to be miserable. Hey, y'all. Do you know what today is or what this is that we're going to be talking about today? Well, I cannot believe I'm saying this to my inspiring possible people. But guess what, folks? Welcome to episode 100 of Inspiring Possible. Cue the confetti, the iced coffee cheers, or wine. You can do that too because we made it. Yes, you heard it. You are here with me. We made it to 100 episodes of Inspiring Possible. So today I'm going to do some reflection of how we got here, some things I've learned along the way, and some truths that will hopefully blow your mind about what's possible for you. So, first off, a word from our sponsors, Possibilities. We actually don't have any sponsors on this podcast, but listen, I want to share just kind of how this whole podcast started, where it came from, how it still has made it to 100 episodes later, about 2.5 years later, how this has all came to fruition. The heart of this podcast started way before some of my possibilities and dreams started. And the heart behind this was because I can remember going to a conference one day and somebody challenged me to say, Christy, who are you passionate about serving and what is something that hurts your heart in the world? And I can vividly remember like it was yesterday, I had to turn to somebody that was in this audience, kind of a random stranger. And I remember with tears in my eyes, I said, what hurts my heart is that there are people that are stuck in their life and there are possibilities for them, that change is possible for them, that there is potential for them that they cannot see. And I feel very strongly that I want to help them realize that just like I realized along my journey, there were possibilities for me, even in the midst of some really hard challenges that I didn't think that I was going to be able to dream again or that my life was only going to be this kind of way. That if I figure this out, and even though I'm still figuring it out, guys, that I wanted to help inspire and encourage you and empower you to realize that it is possible for you too. And this podcast started really because somebody pushed me. It was an idea, it was on my heart. I drew out the vision. I kind of created some of the where I wanted the pillars to be of this podcast. And I remember I sat on it still for about a month until somebody said, Christy, before you end today, I need you to record episode number 1. And here we are, folks, episode 100. Woo! So if you have been listening and showing up week after week, maybe you caught some of them early day, episodes, and maybe you're an OG, or maybe you just hit play last week. I just want you to know that this episode is going to be both a celebration and a soul check-in. So I'm excited to have you with me, and thank you for celebrating with me today 100 episodes of hopefully providing some type of value or thought or inspiration to you along the journey. Because, guys, you are the reason why I do this. And I am very excited because later this year, I'm working on some big things because I've realized that, we have really been able to have some amazing guests who have some incredible insights. But I haven't really got to be able to do stuff with you guys. And so if you've been like, Christy, I'm waiting for you to put something out there where maybe we can create some possibilities together. And I really want to be intentional, but I know I need some accountability. Just hang on in there. I'm working on something for you, and I'd hope you join me along the journey. But here are some truths that I think can be applicable to you that I have learned in 100 episodes of interviewing some inspiring people. Or I've done a few solo episodes where I've shared with you some of my thoughts along the journey. But here are some big truths. I'm going to go over 5 truths today that hopefully will rock your world and catapult you into possibilities. And here is truth number 1. Drum roll, please. You ready for it?
Big possibilities start with tiny yeses. And what I mean by that is that nothing that you see created started overnight or happened overnight. It didn't. It didn't. And it didn't start by people just jumping off into the great abyss and then hoping that everything worked out. No, what it starts with is tiny yeses. I don't have a podcasting degree, if those are even a thing, a fancy studio, or a crystal clear roadmap of how this sucker was going to happen. But I had a laptop, I purchased a microphone, I had a little bit of boldness and a whole lot of faith that this was what I was supposed to do. And so when I said, it's time for a podcast, I feel like there is something I can give to the world, and this is how I'm going to do it. I just had to start. And again, starting wasn't easy. I was petrified the whole time I did probably episode 1 till probably 20. Scared out of my wits, was like, I don't even want to listen back to myself. I don't want to hear what this has to say. And those were the dialogues. Those are the limitations that were in my mind. But it was those tiny yeses that said, okay, just do the next one. Just do the next one. Just do the next one. Do this next. Figure out how to do that next. Figure out how to get guests on your show next. And over 100 episodes, it's went through peaks and valleys, like one of our last guests said. But it's been incredible to not only meet people, but then hear from you and what are the things about the podcast that make you take big leaps or make small changes or whatever it is that you've said yes to in your life. So guys, thank you. Because I know a lot of you have shared your stories with me where you started scared, but you said yes anyways, just like I was scared, but I had the courage to say yes. And I think that belief and courage are some of the biggest things that really can help us create possibilities. And remind yourself that sometimes the most life-changing move you'll make is just saying yes and figuring it out as you go along. Seriously, some of the things that have come true in my life that I could have never thought possible, I had a clarity of kind of maybe where I wanted to go, but I didn't see the whole staircase. I just took the first step. And sometimes that just, when you learn to keep stepping, you realize that a step in a certain direction is eventually going to get you somewhere. And it may be a place that you could have never thought possible. And that's what I want for you. But it starts with those tiny yeses. Truth number 2. Folks, nobody ever built anything worth talking about alone. And the truth is that community is the real secret ingredient here. No one builds big dreams in a vacuum. And I've learned over and over, it's the people who walk with you that make the journey sweeter. And if you have some people that you're like, they're not making my journey sweeter, they're making my journey a little bit more sour, then you know what? You can choose your people. I mean, be kind and be gracious, but you can tell them, hey, listen, you just go sit on over there. I'm going to take so and so along the journey with me. And if we happen to circle back around and you still sitting here, then we might invite you at that point. But I just need to get, I need to choose my people wisely. And the truth is that when you invite people along the journey with you that are willing to say yes, I see the vision too. I want to support you. And it could be like you guys. You guys are people that come and listen to this show, thanking you. And you are actually helping build the dream. If there was nobody, I'll be honest with you, if I pulled back behind the scenes and looked at if nobody was watching these episodes or listening to these episodes, I may would have been like, I give up. But guess what? I see y'all downloading this Dream It Right, Do It book. I get your messages from engagement on Facebook or social media. I see y'all watching and downloading. So guess what? That gives me motivation and it gives me purpose to continue to show up. And I'll be honest with you. When you get people around you that give you motivation to show up, then that is the secret sauce right there. Because I don't know about y'all, I find it sometimes incredibly difficult to show up for myself, whether it be to do something, make a change in my own life that I need to do. But if it is tied with somebody else that I know it might make a difference in their life, then honey, I'm going to make it happen. And so you might not know this, but you've been a part of my why for 100 episodes. So I want to show some gratitude, some love to you today because knowing that you're a part of this community has really helped me create possibilities. And so if you are feeling like I want to be a part of this community, again, stay tuned. A community might be coming soon to an inspiring possible near you. Because the truth is that it takes accountability, it takes motivation from others, it takes somebody pushing you to help you sometimes make that dream possible. And whether it's small or big or whatever it is, whatever change you're trying to make in this thing called life, it's possible. But we sometimes need somebody that's going to help us get there, or at least somebody that walks beside us and says, keep going, keep going. You got this. That's why when people run these marathons, there's people along the journey that are like helping them refuel or giving them a hand clap. And you want to know the reason why? Because running a long distance is hard. I've never done it and I don't want to do it, but I know there are people out there and they've told me it is not easy. Like sometimes you're really motivated and sometimes you just want to sit down on the side of the road and be like, this is it. I ain't doing it no more. But what motivates people a lot of times to keep going is they know there's going to be somebody at the next stop cheering them on. They know there are people in their corner, their loved ones, or other people that run with them that are waiting for them. And that propels us along the mission and the vision of what we're trying to do. And so get you some community and thank you for being a part of this community. Truth number 3 that I've learned after a lot of conversations, folks. We've had a lot of conversations over the past several years, and thank you for listening to those conversations. They've been so fun. But truth number 3 that I've learned is alignment is greater than hustle. There were times I could have pushed just to push, but then I remembered hustle without heart burns you out. And there's a difference between doing it all versus doing what matters. And I'll be honest with you, along this 100 episodes, there's been times where I've had to take a break. I've had to listen to myself. I've had to say pause and then find renewed energy. And it's really exciting because, there's been different seasons in this podcast. There's been seasons where we had guests that have kind of focused on different topics, and it's just the way that it's aligned. And it's been really cool to see that happen. But there's been times where then I've said, okay, I feel like there's some things on my heart that I want to share with you that I feel like could be impactful for you. And we've done that. And there's been times where I might have taken a little hiatus and you kept on coming back. So I just want you to know that there is a difference between doing it all and doing what matters. And that's where that space for reflection that we've talked about many times on this show really comes into play. Because, guys, if it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. It's too expensive. And it doesn't mean that things aren't going to be hard and that might cause stress but there's a difference between purpose and making aligned choices for you and for what you're feeling called to do and not always the loud ones. And I'll be honest with you, peace and purpose is a lot more valuable than chaos and hustle. Because you can hustle, and I'm not saying hustle isn't required to make them dreams a reality, because Lord knows sometimes I'm singing in my head. Every day I'm hustling, 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 but I want to hustle on purpose, not just because. And I think this is where, when we're creating possibilities for our life, that we want to make sure that we are living an aligned life, a life that doesn't mean that this person over here is telling us how to live life or this person over here is telling us how to live life. Doesn't mean that we don't take their opinions into consideration. But aligned means a life that you feel good about, that you wake up and be like, okay, yeah, this is my life. I'm okay with this. And if there is something out of alignment, there's no judgment there. If you're going through a challenging situation, guys, life happens. Ain't nobody got through this journey without some kind of pain, heartache, hurt, hard. But the truth is, how do you go through life and how do you get more in alignment with who you are? And guess what, guys? That takes some time. Sometimes we don't always sit with ourselves and figure out, who am I when all this stuff gets stripped away? What does matter to me? What do I value? How can I find peace and purpose? But if you're here, those are questions that you're probably asking. And so guess what? You're doing probably more than 99.5% of the population. And that is asking questions to say, how can I get in better alignment with who I am and what I value? And I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Alignment doesn't mean easy, but it does mean that you'll sleep better at night. And listen, who don't want to sleep better at night? Which this brings me to truth number 4. Bow, 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 bow. Kind of wish I had some audio tunes over here to kind of highlight my truths. But we ain't that sophisticated over here at Inspiring Possible. Maybe one day we'll get some kind of little buttons I can push, like people clapping and things like that. But thanks for hanging out with this real and raw version. But truth number 4 is your version of possible gets to be yours. Folks, we live life with people And you should be living life with people. We weren't meant to be by ourselves. That goes to truth number 2, community, okay? And that's the secret sauce. But the truth is that so many times we have started to develop these narratives about our life, about what our life could be or should be. And, one of the biggest gifts of these conversations that I've had in 100, now we're at 100 episodes, is that there is no one size fits all version of success. One thing that I've learned from the guests that we've had on here is that everybody has a story. People that pop up and are sharing their truths on this show doesn't mean that they just figured it all out yesterday. It's a journey. And I've noticed how possibility has really looked so different for each guest. Some people have started over, some people are staying steady, or some people have just really went for it. I mean, we've had some incredible guests that have done things that I'm like, "What?" And it challenged me to think bigger. That's one of the things that I really wanted to give you when you came and listened, is that I wanted you to hear stories of people that may have started exactly where you are at. Me, I started out in Ball, Louisiana. Okay. But wherever you're at in the world, wherever you started from, wherever your story was, your origin story, I wanted you to know that there is possibility for you. But I also wanted to empower you, and hopefully you learned this through all these different stories, that ditch that comparison trap. There's no one way to live this life, and the version of possible gets to be yours. So you don't have to do what she's doing. You just have to do you and on purpose. And that's my hope for you in this show, that you get multiple different viewpoints, and hopefully it'll change your mindset to help you realize that we all have different gifts and uniquenesses about us, talents. There's different things that we're passionate about that we are here that not anybody else can necessarily do, or they might not they might can do it, they just might not can do it like you. So your possible is your possible, and your version of possible gets to be yours. And just remember, just because Sally Joe ain't doing it over there, or they doing something different, don't mean you got to do the same thing. It's reflecting on what is the possibilities that you want to create for your life. And what are those next tiny steps and tiny yeses that you need to make and take and say yes to make that possibility a reality. And finally, truth number 5 for my possible listeners. And that is you. Yes, you, not the person driving over there or walking beside you or whoever's listening to this with you, is that you are capable of more than you think. Let me be real. I do not, and I did not always feel qualified to host this podcast, but here we are. Episode 100. Proof that when you keep on showing up, magic happens. And that is so true, guys. If there's one thing I've learned along the journey, it's about the consistency of just showing up. Don't mean that you can't take a rest and take a seat on the bench along the journey, but get back up at some point and keep walking. So I can think about from nerves to confidence, from scattered to steady, to all the different versions of how things have transpired over the past 100 episodes. I want you to know that what I've learned from these guests that we've had, and from you as well, is that, and even from this experience of showing up, is that you're capable of more than you think. And I want to give a big old shout out to you listeners who are chasing your own brave goals. You're not too late. No matter where you are on the continuum, you're not too much. You're not behind. You're right on time. And guess what? You're going to surprise yourself, because there's still things for you to do on this planet Earth. If you hear my voice right now, I'm telling you right now, there is something still for you to do here. And it could be to show up for the people around you in the best possible way, in the best version of yourself. Or it could be to create some type of, organization, or do some kind of hobby, or to make some positive change in your life. Whatever it is, guess what? It's possible for you. And that is the truth. And sometimes we have to figure out what are those limiting beliefs that are holding us back, that we have to confront so that we can be able to move in the direction of our dreams and our goals. And guys, I always say, like, there are so many things in my life that, again, the whole reason why this is called Inspiring Possible, that I would have never thought possible. And there's probably some other things that can be possible for me as well as you. And sometimes we just have to let ourselves dream a little and then start to make those tiny yeses in the direction of our goals and dreams. So, just to recap those 5 truths, and I've learned a lot more than these 5 by listening and talking to these people, but is that big possibilities start with tiny yeses. Belief and courage are necessary to pursue those big dreams. Truth number 2, community is the real secret sauce. I mean, guys, my favorite quote is that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And the truth is, I look at some of these skyscrapers and, just the fact that, like, there's an automobile or a plane or like there's ways to get places real fast these days. And that all happened by maybe an idea, but a bunch of people have to make that a reality. And you want people to walk through the journey with you because you know what? What's cool about that is they can remember where you started and then they can see where you end up and they can be like, yep, if it's possible for them, maybe it is possible for me too. And then you can encourage them along the journey. That's what's so cool about this. Truth number 3, alignment is greater than hustle. Hustle's overrated, people. I mean, don't get me wrong, you need some hustle from time to time, but aligned hustle is where it's at. And your version of possible gets to be yours. Ditch that comparison trap. It's overrated, anyways. And truth number 5, you are capable of more than you think. The favorite thing that I've had along this journey of doing this podcast is hearing how it's impacted your life and also been able to meet some incredible people along the journey that have really come and graciously shared their time, insights, and hearts with us to help us figure out how to just take that next step on this journey of this thing called life. And I want to let you know the mission's not slowing down. Just because we reached 100, we're not gotten to the top of the mountain and just hanging up our, walking sticks and possibility sticks, okay? More real talk is coming, more inspiration, and hopefully some more things that will impact your life. So, if this show has ever encouraged you, made you laugh, or reminded you of what's possible, would you do me a favor? Because, this is like a birthday celebration. It's like when you hit 100, and then when we hit 200, we're going to have another birthday celebration over there. But this is Inspiring Possible's birthday, 100th episode birthday. And I would be so grateful if you would just share this with a friend, maybe your favorite episode. Go over and say, hey, have you heard about this podcast? And share it with them. Because listen, guys, listening to things that can challenge your mindset can change your life. So do somebody a favor that has a dream or a goal or a change they want to make and share it with a friend. Or maybe just leave a review. If you've never left a review, go over to wherever you're listening to me today, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just leave a review of maybe one thing that you took away from an episode or this show. I would be forever grateful for you just taking a chance to leave a review. Or just send me a direct message, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you see me at. And I just want you to say, I'm here for 100 more. Because that's going to keep me motivated, guys, to bring you some incredible guests and possibly, again, in the future, create some type of community where we can all come together and really focus on making change happen together. So I want you to think about if this is not your first time here to the party and you've been listening to some of the podcast episodes, I want you to reflect and let me know what truth or what takeaway has resonated most with you. We've got some amazing conversations ahead because possibility, it's only just getting started. But I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love for you to think to yourself and maybe reflect on how far have you come. There might be something, we're celebrating 100 episodes, but there might be something you've been working on that you might just need to turn back and say, how far have I came? And what did it take for me to get here? And honor that journey. And also remember, just like this podcast, there's still a lot to come ahead. Because guys, possibility, it's only getting started. Love y'all. Until next time.
That's all for today on Inspiring Possible. If you found a little inspiration today, please go on over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen to leave us a comment and rate us. Also, make sure and link up with me at inspiringpossible.com to get the free Dream It, Write It, Do It workbook. And don't forget to follow us on social media and share this with anyone who needs to be inspired. Remember, if you can believe it, it's possible.